Hello everyone, this is Jeff, Lorena, and Whiskey with Back to Country. And this is a beautiful day to go for a nice walk.
Yep, we haven't taken you all with us for a walk in the woods in quite some time, so we figured, why not today? So let's go take a look around and see what's going on. As you can see, we're still, I guess you would say, in winter phase. The trees haven't started blooming or anything yet. Of course, the evergreens are green as ever. We've been getting plenty of rain, so the ground is still a little bit wet and muddy in some spots, but overall it's pretty good. Curious to see what the bees are doing, so we're going to take a walk over to the bee yard and see what's going on there. The sun is out bright this morning, so the bees should be flying. Lorena went by the other day and they was all really active, so hopefully they will be this morning as well.
Unless they're all cooked up because it's a little bit chilly. And when it's chilly, they don't come up.
Hopefully the sun's hitting the hives and got them flying. So it is still a little bit chilly this morning, especially the wind chill.
And I've been, lately I've been busy cutting the, what is it called? The
Greenbriar.
The Greenbriar, oh gosh. That's a war against them and me.
Yeah, if you haven't dealt with Greenbriar, it's extremely invasive, and in order, they say, to actually get rid of it, you have to like dig up the big tuber roots, and they run everywhere, so
yeah,
pretty hard to dig up.
Yeah, and they choke the trees, and that's what I don't want. I'm trying to clear up the trails, you know, when they're growing so close to the trails. If I don't cut them, they take over and they block the way. So I have to go around the trails and just cut as much as I can around the trees.
So here, if you look in this tree and you go all the way to the top and you see all that green up there, that's Greenbriar. So the tree has dropped its leaves and everything, but it looks green because that vine has climbed to the top and spread out. And they'll spread so much that they actually will choke out a tree because they block the sunlight to it. And there's the star of the show, has decided to take the lead. Now, if you haven't been following us, Whiskey is actually blind, so now we have the blind leading the blind.
No, he does pretty good. He developed his sense of smell and hearing, you know. That's how he gets around. Pretty good.
Yeah, that's one thing. When he went blind, we were actually here at the time when he totally lost his vision. He's got diabetes, and he was developing cataracts, and they finally got to the point that they made him go blind, and he was really confused for a moment, and we were trying to figure out, of course, what was wrong with him.
This way.
But he lost his vision, and since then he has adapted very well. Like Lorena said, he uses his other senses quite a bit more, and he gets around quite well. Most people don't even notice that he's blind, unless we tell them.
There it is.
So I definitely can see the bees flying this morning. They're coming and going pretty heavily. I don't know how well this camera shows. I'm not going to get right up in the hive and film because that'll just make them bees mad, and I'd rather not get stung this morning. But they're definitely flying, coming and going quite well. That feeder you see in front of that hive, it's empty. We just use it to, it's like a entrance reducer. We never took it out, and just left it in there to keep that, because in the winter time, you can see we take them down to a 1-inch entrance, and that's for a lot of reasons. Whoop.
You guys saw?
No, but I got buzzed. They're telling me, get away. So,
oh my goodness.
When they start buzzing me, telling me, ah, you're too close, I take heed and move on. So, anyway, they're doing well. I can just tell by the amount of activity that the hive is doing well. That's one thing, after you've been keeping bees for several years, you start to, you know, just watch them and I'm still being, there's one still chasing me. He's like, get on out of here. Yeah.
Okay, it's gone.
Anyway, so
It's gone.
so you just watch them and you get their patterns, and you know, you see what a healthy hive looks like and what an unhealthy hive looks like, how strong they are, and the fact that they're a little bit aggressive right now is probably due to shortage of food this time of year. The hives, of course, we check them before going into winter, and we'll usually check them anytime now. I probably normally would have been in there by now, but we've been so busy working on the shop and everything, I haven't been in there.
I don't think, and I don't think this year we're gonna put any traps, right? Foam traps. We don't have time for that.
Oh, we'll see. So we've been putting out the swarm traps every year, and we usually get 1 to 2 hives a year that way. And so we're just growing our apiary real slow here. I got rid of all my bees in San Antonio, and so we're just building our apiary up here, and we're not in a hurry. So right now we have 3 hives. One of them we haven't seen flying. We need to go down and check on it and see how they're doing. But these 2 hives are fairly healthy. We've had them a few years now, and hopefully this year they'll do well as far as producing some honey. We did that brown wood hive. We took 3 gallons.
3 gallons of honey.
Yeah, about 3 gallons out of that hive last year.
Last year, yeah.
And we of course left them a lot, so that's typically how we do it. We make sure we leave them plenty, and we take some for us. So we got about 3 gallons out of that one. The honey is it's a real interesting honey. It's not like any honey I've ever tasted anywhere, and I've tasted a lot of honeys. And you know, technically we have to call it wildflower honey because you can't say specifically, you know, what it is made from. But I can say that we saw the bees, and we've shared that on Facebook and stuff, pictures or video of them really working that staghorn sumac. Now we've got tons of horsemint as well, also known as bee balm. And funny, I have never seen our honeybees on any of those flowers. Yet they've crushed when the sumac is blooming, I mean, they are just swarming on it practically. They're working it hard. So we suspect that the majority of the honey is from that staghorn sumac, and that's probably why it's such a unique flavor. Now I've tasted horsemint honey, and it's a very sweet, good, I like it, good honey, and this doesn't taste like that. So that's our conclusion anyway, is that it's mostly the staghorn sumac. But so far, everybody we've shared it with has really liked it. It's got kind of a fruity flavor to it, but it definitely grows on you. Anyway, this part of our main road that goes towards the back of the property, and I haven't been back here in I don't even know how long. I've been so busy working since well, let's see, we came and poured the pad in December, so
Since October then.
so I came up in December, poured the pad, and definitely since then I have not been back here. So Lorraine said maybe October last time I was back
when
here.
you were pouring the slab, you didn't even have time to go for a walk.
No, I didn't. I never left the main area.
So that means October then.
So
Since October.
Lorena, of course, comes, checks everything out every time she's up here. So, you know, we kind of know the status of the property.
Yeah.
But
I take my whiskey for walks every day, twice a day, so.
yeah, Whiskey definitely loves his walks. Anyway, other than that, you know, we're still working on the shop. Hope to be getting the first video out in that series. I've at least decided now how I'm going to do it. So we're going to work on a chronological order. And basically, we're going to start with how we bought it, why we bought it, all those kind of details. How we got the best price, you know. And then from there, the next couple videos are already out there, and that would be
The delivery of the building?
delivery of the building and the slab. And then we'll start with day one of the build and work through that. So that's what's on the horizon. And I don't know, it'll just be the metal building series or something. Not have to work on my creativity, but that's basically what it is. Like I said before, the goal there is to, you know, share with folks the lessons we've learned along the way. It's not necessarily a how-to video. It's more of a how we did it video. And I'm sure that if you talk to, you know, a professional, somebody who does these buildings all the time, they could probably tell us 1,000 ways we could have done it easier. Maybe, I don't know.
But we are learning, you know.
We're learning, yeah, absolutely. And you know, each day that we work on it, whenever we're doing a repetitive process, we've gotten better at it as we've gone. And the bottom line is, it's coming together. We've got some braces left to put up. We're doing some modifications on one of the garage doors, and I've got an end wall to work on because I've got to drill some holes for cable bracing. And pretty much that's the entire, oh, and then your what they call angle brace and or not angle brace, what is it, rake angle or something, I don't know. Your rake angle and your base angle. So basically that's some angle iron that goes along the top of the ends, which basically becomes a nailer if you think in terms of wood framing. It gives you something to screw the tin to at the top. And then your base angle is the same thing. That'll will nail to the concrete and give you something to screw the tin to at the bottom. Of course, we have girts in the middle, so that's how the tin will be connected to the building, the walls. So we've got to put all that up. And then that's basically the completion of all the framing work, and the next thing that goes up is the tin. So we're kind of taking a pause before we did do that, because I thermal break tape. So basically it's a foam tape that goes between the tin and any metal that it connects to, and that creates a thermal break so that you don't get that heat transfer, because we're going to do spray foam. And so the spray foam will, you know, provide quite a bit of thermal protection, whatever you want to call it, insulation. And if I didn't do something to break that thermal contact between the steel, then, you know, heat could still radiate through the purlins and girts, because those things are 8 inches wide, and we're obviously not going to spray 8 inches of foam. That would be very cost prohibitive. So we decided to go with this thermal break tape. And yeah, I never thought I would say this, but I spent over $1,000 on tape. Who does that? So that's one for the storybooks. Who spends $1,000 plus on tape? I obviously did, but I'm hoping that it's for a good reason. This is our back property line. I don't know how much of this we've filmed in the past, but we've got a right-of-way that runs through here for these big power lines, and they cross just over this back corner of our property. So you can see that gate there is the fence line, and the tower for the power lines, I don't know if it's on our side of the fence or the other side of the fence right here. Have to look. Never paid that much attention to it. So it appears to be just on the other side of the fence. Darn near right on the fence line. And of course, as we go along, they keep this side cleared more because there's cattle in there that keep the grass grazed down. And so along this line you can see the power lines switch to the other side of the fence and go away. So by the time you get to the other side of our property, they're no longer even passing over the property at all. So it's just this back corner where they cross, and then it goes away. Of course, here you can see game trail coming through here where, you know, animals are coming under that fence. Lots of game trails through this high grass. It even looks like things have been bedding down in here. And this is, we get quite a few hogs come through. Haven't seen any lately, and haven't even seen a lot of sign, but there was a time where we saw them by the hundreds. Now we're seeing less.
What do you say, Whiskey? I'm sorry, what did you smell? What did you say?
Ask you if you wanted to go that way.
Oh, yeah. You want to go to the creek? Come on.
Okay, so we'll walk this way down the line. Anyway, like I was saying, we had hundreds. We were seeing herds that, you know, as big as 100, I guess, of hogs, and there were multiple herds. And it was getting to the point where they were everywhere. And then all of a sudden, it's like they just disappeared. So I don't know if one of the areas around here hunted them out or what, but they definitely, the population significantly decreased. Maybe they cleaned the area out on food and were not finding enough resources, so they moved on. I don't know. But in the cameras and stuff, we still see a few, so it's not like they're eradicated. And the way hogs breed, we definitely know they'll be back. Again, we don't really have time to do any hunting or anything at this point anyway, so we're just trying to work our plan, get our shop up so that we can get it dried in, get the insulation done on it, and once we make it to that point, then we will transition into move mode. We'll focus on taking care of our house in San Antonio, getting all our household goods moved up here, and we'll put them in storage. Initially we'll throw a bunch in the shop, and then we'll organize it into the shipping containers and whatnot, and you know, keep out what's going in our living quarters and all that kind of stuff. And then we'll put the house up for sale and hit the road and come up here full time. We'll live in the RV initially as we build our living quarters in the shop. Once that's done, then we'll move into the shop, or the living quarters, I guess, whatever. But we'll be up here full time then, and we'll have a little more time to work on other stuff. Of course, we've got big plans. This is 100 acres, and you know, most of it's timberland, but we are planning to make a change to portions of it. I think the first thing we're going to work on is our orchard. So the plan is to put up some high fences. We have one corner of our property that already has some length of high fence from a neighboring property, and we're just going to come off that fence and square it out. It'll cover about 7 acres, and so that'll give us a 7-acre parcel that will be high fenced around it to keep the deer and everything out. And then we'll plant all our fruits, nuts, whatever, basically anything that we can get to grow here. We'll give it a try. Oh, here's a
beautiful
female Alpine.
Gorgeous.
If you've seen our series on, or our video on Alpine tea, this stuff makes excellent tea. It's the only plant that's native to North America that naturally contains caffeine. So for you preppers, that's good stuff to know that the Alpine Holly is natural caffeine. So when the coffee runs out, the tea runs out, tea will never run out with that. So, and it actually tastes as good as any other tea you've ever drank. You can, depending on how you dry the leaves, you can make it like a black tea or a green tea. We tend to make it more like a green tea just because we can dry the leaves faster that way. Throw them in the dehydrator and dry them out, and they dry fast, which means you don't get that oxidation that makes it a black tea. But that also means less caffeine, so there's a trade-off. But we really enjoy the flavor. It doesn't have any natural tannins, so there's no bitterness to it at all. It's just makes a really good tea.
And the good thing is that also the Alpine spreads really quick.
Yeah, we've got it everywhere. So Lorena's done most of that tea work and research on all that and everything. It's full of antioxidants and all kind of good stuff. So
the Indians used to use it a lot for their rituals.
yeah, it was a spirit drink. So my interpretation is they liked the caffeine, gave them a little boost, so they would drink it prior to going into battle. And you know, no different than I drink my coffee every single day before I go into battle.
Okay, we have to go to the right.
So yeah, this is like an old road here that you can see the water has flowed down and cut a deep ravine in it right there. Just that erosion that we fight everywhere. And then there's a creek at the bottom of the hill. And we shot some other videos from down here. We gave Whiskey a bath in this one time. It doesn't look like it's running real clear right now. It looks a little muddy looking. A lot of leaves and stuff in it, so that probably has a lot to do with it. But this flows year round, so you can see there we've got some flow. And yeah, this thing's just full of leaves right now. But I guess whiskey still thinks it tastes good. But who knows, someday we'd like to dam this whole valley up and build a nice lake in here.
Go, Whiskey, go.
I did some initial look on a topographical map and kind of laid out a lake. And I think I came up with like 16 acres, that surface acres, that I could make if I built the dam to the top of the valley. So variation smaller from there. But that's a future project, I hope. Lorena says I can't do it till the house is built, so it'll be a while.
First is my house, and then the lake and whatever.
I don't know why she wants a house. I mean, we'll have the living quarters. I would rather build the lake first, so then it's a waterfront property right out of the gate. But I'm sure we'll end up doing it Lorena's way. Anyway, we're climbing now. Heading up out of the valley. It's pretty good haul from here, from the bottom of that valley to the top of our hill. Before we excavated it, it was a 100-foot elevation change. So I'm not sure what it is now. Probably 85 or 90, because we took a lot off the top of that hill.
And there is a lot of greenbriar growing over here.
Everywhere.
And so Jeff was telling me just the other day about the greenbriar when you when it's just new, when it's just coming out, you can eat it.
Yeah, that's
and
what I read.
Taste like this?
No, that's an old one.
And it would taste like, what do you say?
Well, online somebody was saying it's like asparagus or something, but who knows?
I don't know.
A lot of these vines are old. You gotta find the young, fresh sprouts.
Hey, I'm finding all kinds of different sizes and everywhere.
But all this green you see through here is Alpine. And of course we got some cedar. And it's a given that we have pine. We are in the piney woods. Lots of leaves on the ground.
You wanna go straight or turn?
Yeah, straight.
Okay.
Let's go by the other beehive.
Okay. This way, Whiskey. This way. Yeah, this will make a great fall picture. Lots of leaves.
It's always nice to walk this time of year when the leaves are off the trees, because you can see more. You can see more of the terrain. You can see more of the evergreens, you know, where are the cedars. How many pines do you have? Unfortunately, we can also see the Greenbriar.
Yeah. I noticed this time that I came, there is a lot of new pine trees growing, which I am happy because I love them.
Yeah, so this property used to be a pine plantation. Was this wax myrtle?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Wait,
you just got caught there, but
up,
this little tree here is wax myrtle,
up.
and we got a bunch of that throughout the property as well. And supposedly we know it makes little berries and stuff, and I don't know, I don't remember, but I think you boil those berries and you'll get a layer of wax that you can then make candles with.
Look at this mess.
And I forget what the candles, something berry, they're out there. But anyway, just one of those neat things to know, I guess. We haven't tried it, maybe someday. And here we come out of the woods into an opening which I started clearing years ago, and it's already grown back because this will be inside the orchard. So years ago I came down here with the dozer and kind of cleared it out, mainly just wanted to see the ground, see what it looked like, and that's how I began to develop my plan for the orchard to be down here. And I don't know how well you can see it here, but from here it all goes uphill, and so there are areas down here that are lower lying land that maybe is a little wetter during the wet season. So, you know, trees that like a lot of water maybe come down in the lower areas, and trees that need that well-drained soil can go in the higher areas. So nice to have that varying terrain to be able to plant different things. We'll see how it works out. The pines sure love it here. This used to be a pine plantation, so of course there's lots of pines. Well, I see bees coming and going.
Oh, yeah?
So there's the third hive. And you know, this hive was a swarm that we captured up in this oak tree, where actually, haven't all of our swarms come from here, or did we get one up front? I think they all came from here.
Yeah, came from here.
Yeah, yes. So every swarm we've got has come out of this oak tree. We put a swarm trap up there, and
oh, they're very active.
This one we just didn't relocate. We didn't get around to it, so we need to relocate that one up to the bee yard. As you just walked with us from there, hopefully you got the sense that it's a good haul from here to there. So typically what I'll do is close that hive up, put a moving screen on it, and basically then at nighttime come down and close it up. Just close the doors on the moving screen, and then we'll be ready to move it, and then put it on the tractor and move it to the bee yard, set it up there, and maybe even leave it for a day or two before we open it, and put some leaves or whatever in front of the entrance so that the bees are forced to reorient when they come out of the hive, and that prevents them from wanting to come back to this location. So that hive obviously is doing well. I can see tons of activity there. Looks great. And so then we turn up this trail, which we call the creek trail. And the reason we call it the creek trail is because there's another creek that runs down below this one. And this trail kind of zigs and zags and goes at one point right along the property line, and then goes away. And there's a pond on the neighboring property that's right next to there. It's just a nice walk. And here, this is I would say seasonal rain runoff flow creates. There's this little hole here, so eventually we may put a piece of culvert or something here and cover this up. But It's just not a priority. But typically it stays full of water year round. It'll dry out a little bit in the summer, but
not too much.
Not much, yeah. And this just
ready, Whiskey? Let's
continues
go.
running on down the hill.
Go.
And so then we head uphill again. So that's one of the things we liked about this property, is all the varying terrain. It's nice to have the hills and valleys. A lot of it because of being able to plant different varieties of things that like different soils and everything. We find a little bit of everything on this property. We've got multiple year-round springs. They're artesian springs that just come out of the ground, water year-round. And a few creeks. And we hope to build a pond or 2 or 3. And of course there's a pond on the neighboring property. There's a lot of ponds around the area. Seems just about every property owner who owns acreage tends to put in a pond. And if you look through these few trees right here, maybe you can see that fence post with the high fence runs along here all the way back to the back corner. And we'll see when we come up to the corner of it up here. So like I say, the plan is to tie to the corner of this thing and just kind of square it out, shoot over, clear to what we call 5 Pines Road. So here's the corner of it, and we'll tie to that, come straight out here and run straight on back through there. We'll have a lot of trees to clear out and everything for the fence line, but we'll continue with high fence, at least 7 foot. I think that's an 8 foot. We'll do at least a 7 foot. And again, the purpose of that is to keep the deer and everything out so they don't eat all our trees. And hopefully we won't just have trees in there. I mean, with 7 acres, we can do quite a bit. So again, our intent will be whatever will grow, we'll plant and try to grow it. And we'll start out with whatever we need, 1 or 2 trees, you know, just to make sure we got pollinators, and see how they do. And if they take off and do well, then we'll go from there. Of course, it won't just be random, hey, let's go buy 1,000,000 trees. We'll be checking with the local ag extension and finding out, you know, what varieties and stuff do well. We'll get the soil tested. So there'll be a lot going into it. And of course, we'll try to create content as we go along and share it. And whatever lessons we learn along the way, which I'm sure will be many, we'll share that as well.
And another challenge will be to how to connect water to water all those trees.
Yeah, so of course, if you've been following us for a while, you know that I bought a drilling rig. Started rebuilding it. I haven't finished it because I'm working on the shop. So once the shop is done, that'll be probably one of my early projects, to drag that thing inside the shop. So here's the you can see through the trees there, that's the pond on the neighbor's property. It stays pretty muddy, so my I guess learned knowledge on that is a lot of the water is positively charged, and those ions or whatever tend to hold pieces of dirt in suspension, and that you know, creates that muddy water. And in Texas there are 2 ways to clear that I've read about. One is treating with gypsum, and the other one is treating with lime. And this part of Texas, I believe lime is the more common and successful treatment. So basically there's, you know, a formula for the size of the pond, etc., and you go along, I think, in like a boat or whatever and spread out lime. And if you got a little electric prop motor or whatever, and use the prop to kind of help mix it in, and that I guess the alkali in the lime works to take away that positive charge. I'm not a scientist, so that's just the gist of it, but if you research it, you can, I'm sure, read the same stuff I've read. Again, not an expert, just read about it. But if that were my pond, I'd definitely do that just to clear it up. But the property owner of that pond does not live next to the pond. It's just they originally owned all the property in this little subdivision and sold them out in 5-acre parcels. And this is considered a not usable parcel. It's kind of down in the valley, and there's not really any place to build. So the original owner still owns it, as far as I know. So they really don't do anything with it. But I have been told by somebody who used to live on the adjoining property to that there are bass in that pond. I don't know what other fish are in there. We've never fished it. Maybe someday we will. But definitely nice to know that there is a pond that has fish in it close by. Again, I consider that just another resource put away in the knowledge bank. Pretty nice day today, though.
Yeah, it was very wet and muddy and cold. Now it's a beautiful day.
Anyway, we're at about 43 minutes already. So hopefully we haven't bored anybody to death. I'm going to basically upload this video as is, and you know, it'll be a like it or leave it kind of thing.
Creek when we're going. We already passed on that.
Oh no, we haven't done that yet. I guess we can keep going and share that as well. So we'll take you down to the creek that runs along the trail and just kind of give you a shot of that when we get up here to the entrance we've cut in.
And this creek belongs to our property.
Yeah, it originates across the road, comes under the road, and then travels through our property, good portion of it, and it feeds that pond. And then the overflow out the back of the pond continues on. So it's a big long creek. It does flow year round. I've never seen it stop flowing. And even 2011 and 12, there was a really bad drought in Texas. And that's when we came and first looked at this property in 2012, late into the drought. And surprisingly, there were no dry areas. I mean, all these springs and stuff were still flowing during the drought, which basically tells you that they're a good water source. I think maybe we missed the entrance. Yeah, we missed it. Yeah, I think we walked past it already. Yeah. We'll see. If you kind of look through these trees, I don't know if you can see that or not through the camera, but you can see a little creek down there at the bottom of the valley. That's it just zigs and zags all through there. And then here we get to the end of what we call the creek trail, back out to the original main road. and we stopped using this road because it gets so muddy. I got tired of getting stuck. I got stuck so many times on this road, it's pathetic. So if you follow the road here, that takes us down at the end. There is the main gate, and what we use is the main road now. And then this here is the
used to be the main road.
The original road. And this was basically a logging road when they came in here and cut the pine and clear cut the place. This was the main road that they used, but the erosion has gotten to it so much over the years, and I tried to maintain it, but it just there's just so much water flow that comes through here that you couldn't really maintain it. So you can see this deep ditch over here where you get a lot of flow, but areas of this thing get down to, you know, where if you're driving a vehicle through here, it's pretty tight, because obviously you don't want to drive into that ditch. And then up here, the water flow actually crosses the road. So you can see here it transitions to the other side, and then you end up with ditches on both sides of the road. So trying to drive a RV through here is not really an option. And having to constantly hit it with the dozer is just like making it worse. So rather than put tons of money into this road to get it up to par, we decided to go with a better option. But we are still going to bring more dirt down and fill this in a little bit more so that we can still run four-wheelers and stuff down it. So if you look up there, you can see our dirt wall, and that's basically where we filled in to build up our pad to do all our building on. You can see the building top sticking up over there, and you can see there's a lot of erosion even taking place on this thing, because number one, it's such a steep drop that water runs over it, and you know, getting 1/10 of an inch of rain is a rare thing. Usually we get 3/4 or more, and it comes down so fast that it just flows everywhere, and erosion is a constant battle. So eventually we'll fill more of this out and rock it or whatever. But again, just another thing that's not a priority. So this was full of dirt here and it all washed out. When we were working on the pad up here, we pushed dirt over and this got filled in, and it totally has washed out since then. So lots of water flows through here. Anyway, and there we are back up at the top. As always, if you've watched this far, we appreciate you joining us. Appreciate y'all joining us on this journey and allowing us to share all this with you. If you got any questions or you want us to show something specific or cover something specific, please drop us a comment or an email or whatever and let us know. We'd be happy to try to do that. So,
or if you know something that we don't know, help us.
Yeah, share. We'll share and you share. Anyway, appreciate y'all. Thanks again, and
God bless you. We'll see you later. Adios, amigos.
We'll see you on the next one.